I've been playing Harvestella,
Oh,
Square Enix's little JRPG and farming game. I will say this: the game is probably going to be a solid 7 if we're
oh,
going on the 10-point scale. So, combat is a little bit brainless. I mean, yeah, you've got classes you can change from and stuff, which kind of helps you kind of mitigate some situations and stuff like that. But combat's kind of brainless. Just avoid the AoEs, make sure you've got healing items, and just be smart about combat. So combat's not much to write home about. The farming piece is a little bit bare basic. It's not better than Rune Factory 4, but it's not worse than Rune Factory 4. It's just kind of right in the middle.
okay.
So farming's not all there. What is there for this game is the art design is fantastic. Just playing this game in 4K Ultra, God, it just makes the art shine in this game.
Hmm.
And then the music is just really damn good. Just we're talking a full orchestra soundtrack and everything. Just really great music all around. There's one zone in the beginning that just has this great tune that sort of sets the tone for like an open kind of valley sort of environment, and it's got like dramatic French horns and strings and organ in it. It just makes that area just seem so huge. And then one of the other dungeons later on has a very haunting and ethereal soundtrack with like a choir in the background too, and just it's just nothing short of amazing, and it just kind of brings the feel of the environment together. And those are really the high points of the game. Story's kind of predictable, but I mean, just I really wasn't expecting to be wowed by the story anyhow. Seeing that this was kind of considered a smaller studio game from Square Enix, but overall, Harvestella is fun. If you're kind of got the completionist mentality, you're gonna probably end up wanting to craft all the things, build all the items, farm all the animals and everything. So there's lots to do and everything. People who are experienced with farming games will probably be annoyed by the first chapter because the game really handholds you in the first chapter, making sure you know how to do all the farming stuff and everything. And it isn't until the second chapter that they finally drop the reins off of you and just let you go completely fucking wild.
So you mentioned that the aesthetic choices were actually very good. The music, the visuals are very good. Do you feel the gameplay is more of a stepping stone to maybe a sequel improving that, or were there things in the gameplay that needed obvious work?
I think personally, the farming piece, there could be some quality of life improvements, and I know that the team behind Harvestella have been really observant to feedback and everything, because when the initial demo for Harvestella came out on Switch, people griped to high hell about everything that they didn't like, and they were able to basically just kind of gather the most common complaints and then address the complaints with the fixes in the day one patch. So a lot of the complaints that people had have actually been addressed in the day one patch. But I still feel that there could be some things to be improved on. If they are planning to make this into a full blown series, then I want to say I think I would be hopeful that they can probably iterate further and maybe make a better sequel. But honestly, I don't know how the game is going to wrap up, since I honestly have no clue how far I am from the ending.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, depending on how the story closes up when I get to the ending, then I'd probably be able to definitively say for sure whether or not there might be kind of a window for a sequel or not.
I don't know. Okay, so maybe you don't know the answer to this, but is this going to be something along the lines of how Stardew Valley was, where they just kept perpetually updating the game? Is there a chance for that, or is this definitely a game where once you've played it, you've beaten it, and then that's it? You've played the game. period?
That is a good question. I honestly can't say if there is just kind of like a infinite post game section sort of thing,
Okay.
kind of like what you would find in Stardew Valley and to another degree, Rune Factory. So that'll be something I'll have to find out once I get to the end of the main story. Overall, just I would say it is a bit pricey at $60, and I can understand why some people would kind of balk at the price and go, "Oh God, $60! I'm not sure I want to drop that kind of money on it," because
Right.
yeah, it is quite a bit of cash. But if you're kind of a person who wants to get into something that's got a little bit of farming elements, but is more, I guess, more centered on the JRPG side of the equation, then it's not bad. And especially if you're playing on PC and have a PC that can run this game at 4K Ultra, then yeah, it's a fun, pretty looking JRPG with some farming elements. And $60, while pricey, it's a good looking game in my opinion, and would be a great sort of introduction into action JRPG with some farming elements. And then if you're kind of into the farming stuff more, then you can look into stuff like Story of Seasons and Stardew Valley afterwards. Or if you kind of want more on the whole fusion between both farming and dungeon crawling, then look into Rune Factory 4 after Harvestella. But that would be my thought. And if you're kind of maybe a little bit curious or a little bit on the fence, maybe wait for a sale. That would be my opinion on it.
Yeah, when I found out the game was $60, I was like, nah, I don't know I want to play that for $60. Especially since most games, I think, what is it? Rune Factory 5 was 60, right? Or was it 60 or 50?
Initially when it released on Switch, it was $60, but I think on Steam right now it's $30.
Okay. Yeah. Stardew Valley has always been $30, and that's considered the gold standard of those types of games. So spending 60 on it for a game that I wasn't sure was going to be as good seemed way too steep for me on that one. But you did mention something on your last thing that you said, that it's a good introduction to those types of games. I guess that's really the question. Like, would you give that to somebody who's completely new to these types of games and say, try it out and see if you like it? Or would you rather them play Stardew Valley or Rune Factory? Or what would be the one that if someone is like kind of curious that they're interested in that type of game, what would be the one that you'd think would be a good one to start with?
I think for me, I would probably say Rune Factory 4. Harvestella is great for anyone who's kind of allergic to quote crap graphics, because I know Rune Factory 4 is technically a 3DS game that's been up-res to both Switch and PC. So it doesn't have like new and shiny and pretty models. And I know some people don't like the whole pixel art aesthetic that Stardew Valley has. So Harvestella, I think, would be great for anyone who does care about aesthetics and wants kind of like nice, shiny looking graphics and everything. Then yeah, Harvestella is great for that, because it's just a really pretty game, in my opinion. Just the art team behind the game just did a smashing job on just making the game, or the rather the characters, just look super pretty and everything.
Overall, you'd kind of recommend it, but maybe not for $60. Is that what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I would say the safest thing to do is check out the demo on Switch, because there is a demo out for Switch, and the demo has actually been recently updated to account for all the day one patch changes that the Square Enix team did for the game for the retail release. So the demo now includes all the quality of life changes that were made right before release for the day one patch. So it is technically one-to-one alike to the retail copy now. So play the demo on Switch, and then if you like it, then if you want just the absolute best visual fidelity, then just go for the PC one. If you value just the portability of the Switch, then you can get the full copy on Switch. And the cool thing about the game is that if you do decide to go with the full retail copy for Switch, then your save data from the demo does carry over to the retail copy.
Oh, good. That's not a bad feature, and that's been more common with Switch games recently for some games. That's right.
Yeah, it's been great to kind of see that sort of functionality for some of the games that are coming out with Switch demos, and then having that little fine detail of, hey, by the way, if you buy the game, then you won't lose all the progress that you put in on the demo. The progress from the demo will also transfer to your full retail copy.
Okay, that's good. So you recommend it for certain people, maybe not the price that it was that they are selling it for, maybe for a sale.
Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, if you're hesitant on it, then I would say just wait for a sale.
Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.